Ah, yes. The Fast Show. Haven't worked much since then, if at all, truth be known. More than 25 years. Gosh. Still, one soldiers on. Natasha's been a rock, of course, but it's been tricky. Actually, the thing that saved us is the villa her father left her on the Greek island of Thymnos. We do go there rather a lot. In fact, we were there recently skinny dipping off a completely deserted beach when Tash suddenly started screaming in agony. She'd stepped on a sea urchin, of course. What you have to do is rinse the wound in urine. I know, but I just couldn't pee. But then, stroke of luck, Ariel, the little mermaid, popped up out of the surf and pissed on my wife's foot, which was nice.
Does my bum look big in this? Might probably be, along with suit you, I would say it's probably the
biggest catchphrase to come out of the show.
Come out of the show, yeah.
Good morning, Ms. Schumacher. Thank you very much for stopping. Do you realise why I pulled you over?
It's the jacket, isn't it? Doesn't work with this top. Trader skirt, maybe? I don't know. What do you think? Do you think I should have worn different earrings? Something a bit more dangly down, a bit more fun, maybe look a bit more crazy? I don't know. Now, listen, should I have worn my hair up, a bit more grown up? Might have made me look a bit severe, though. I know what you're thinking. Make my face look all puffy and bloated, wouldn't it? No, listen, come back. I want to know. I need to know the truth. Does my bum look big in this car?
Does my bum look big in this was my catchphrase. I mean, it was literally what I used to say all the time, and I didn't even mean it. It was in no shape or form supposed to be funny. I was obsessed with the size of my bum, and I genuinely used to ask everybody that I was close to every time I wore anything if my bum looked big in it.
It wasn't particularly a character, was it? It was her, not as herself, but...
It was next week's show, Insecure Woman.
Look, does my bum look big in this?
And it obviously it's stuck.
Yeah.
Because it struck such a chord.
She was supposed to be every woman. That's why she didn't have a distinct look. So whatever she was doing, High Court judge, sex worker, housewife, the idea was that she was every single woman in the world.
Does my bum look big in this?
That was my entire life. Yeah, that I thought if I had a small bum and boobs that stood up on their own, I'd be perfect.
I was educated at the Woodrow Wilson Institute of Science between the years 1967 and 1969. At this time, people like Professor Timothy Leary were advocating philosophies such as tune in, turn on, drop out, and there was also the heavy use of hallucinogenic drugs. Can I just say at this point that these theories in no way affected my research and my philosophy?
And what exactly are you researching at the moment, Professor Dexter?
Space bats.
I have to give a great deal of credit for Denzel was myself and a Scotsman who was in Steve Coogan's year at drama school, whose name was Alan Francis. Oh, Alan, and he does the stand-up circuit, Alan. And me and Alan used to do a thing together at drama school called Talking Through a Hole in Your Beard. And we would do it together. It was based on the BBC late-night Open University scientists who would talk about quantum physics and relatable mechanics and pure maths and it was those things, and you just sit there and going, what is this about? But I think stoners really loved it because they thought they could probably get a grasp on the odd equation and, did see space bats. And that's where Denzel is. So he's a hippie scientist, genius, but with a psychedelic twist. Hi, I'm Denzel Dexter, and founder of the tech company Commazoid, and currently the 6th richest man in the world, by accident. Safe to say, a lot of water has passed under the Golden Gate Bridge since I last did the Fast Show. After overdosing on laboratory-grade DMT, also known as the spirit molecule, oh, it's really great. It takes you to places that you... Is that Dave? Oh, yeah, sorry. Yep, sorry, Dave. Yeah, you're right. Those days are behind me. So, Dave said to me, "Come on, Denzel, enough is enough." And he took me to rehab. After a lengthy process of recovery, I found I had a new clarity and a sense of purpose. And I had a vision of how technology could save mankind. When they first heard my idea, people said, "Hey, you're crazy." That's because I am. But you know, it's the crazy people, it's the dreamers who make the world go round. Them and the plumbers. So anyway, Dave and I worked on my idea in my garage, and when we came to launch it, it was the most successful tech flotation ever. Even though nobody knows exactly what Commozoid is or does. Not even me. So, I've now invented the Astro Car, an electric car that will travel to the moon. And when I get there, I'm going to prove the existence of space bats. Although, unfortunately, I'm currently suffering a major setback and I can't seem to find a cable long enough. Watch this space, or should I say, watch that space.
Oh, Johnny Giles, Johnny Giles, Johnny Giles, Johnny Giles, Johnny Giles, Johnny Giles.
Just the most talented, I think, probably of everyone. I mean, you know.
Hello, and welcome to Jazz Club. Cool.
Jazz is a bit of a kind of a... It's one of those things. It's like, for the ignorant, you ask people, "Do you like curry?" And they go, "No, I don't eat spicy food." And I go, "Well, there's a lot of different ones." They go, "No, not for me." It's like you go, "Do you like jazz?" And they go, "No, it's weird." Well, what we kind of capitalised on was the weird end. We kind of went for the jugular. The kind of jazz we took the mickey out of is what my mate, who is my fellow drummer mate, Chris, would describe as a fire in a pet shop.
John does a great Roger Moore, and we thought...
And a great Whispering Bob Harris.
Yeah, so if he does a sort of conflation of the two. And he nailed it, John, didn't he?
Yes.
Great.
So, you know, you can watch it just on the level of it, what aside is he going to do next? But there's also, you know, there are jokes in there for jazz buffs.
Yeah. Jazz is a very accessible musical form. Great. And it was a joy to showcase many jazz legends on the television for the first time. Innovative. Oh, acts like James Nance, Donald Strong, Piles Hussein, Jeffrey Jackson, Stanford Brooke, Thaden Boy, Soylent Green, Kumquat, Hornfinger, Thrusk, oh, and of course, Clam on bass. Fabulous. No, really fabulous. Such great memories. I particularly love in that last clip the effortless modulation from B-flat minor to A-sharp minor to the suspended E major 7th via the augmented, diminished, demented, deep-fried D major. Ah, simple, sir. Of course, there were a few acts that got away. Damn. Musicians I wanted to get on the show, but I missed out on. Shame. Like Mississippi Rees-Mogg, the New Orleans Jazz Tax Accountants, Hedge Fund, Ongar, Goose Factor, ooh, the Duchess of York, and Michael Bubble. Bublé? Bublé. Superb!
Billy Bleach was my first character because I used to be addicted to fruit machines, one, and I used to spend a lot of time in pubs just playing fruit machines.
Go on, let's just start. Just going to pay out a mint here. Right, exchange that for the nudge.
He was that kind of quite sort of sad person that was always in the pub, and you know he's quite bright and quite intelligent and clever, but you know he was never really going to break out of the pub.
It's his domain, but he doesn't actually run the pub. But it's always his manner.
The particular thing of helping people with a fruit machine, I used to do that.
Come out of the way. That third one drops right in. £3.20. Oh, ain't come in, that's weird.
But of course, you'd often come in and do it and get it wrong, which is what I do in the sketch. And I've done that before too. And then, you're in South East London and some bloke would be giving you a very dirty look. So yeah, there was always jeopardy there.
Hey, whoa, don't do that. No point doing that. Give him the tenner back, right? You give him the £5 and the 50, right? Give him that back. So you take that and you just give him the 3 ones.
Because Simon's a stand-up, he's a character stand-up, and he found a way of making basically stand-up into a sketch, which is if you make someone a pub bore, you don't have to have anyone else replying.
I can't believe I was such a young man when I was on that far show. I looked like Straw Peter. Now look at me, 56 years of age. Who would have thought of it? What else is going on? I splat with me bird, which is sad because we've got a kid, but she wanted me to become middle class. Make massive compromises in my personality. Dinner parties. I love a party. I love dinner, just not at the same time. We've got a son who's lovely, Kendrick, 10 years old. He seems to be unaffected by our conscious uncoupling. She has him in the week, I have him weekends. Typical Saturday, we rise early, I'll have a chai latte, maybe some muesli with goji berries foraged from the back of an avocado lorry. He'll have a bowl of ketchup. Then he goes and plays football, Hackney Marshes. I stand on the sidelines shouting unintelligible 1970s football comments. In the hole, come square. Kendrick, come square. Drop off. Yes, no, go, give and go. He don't listen. I know this because one weekend I shouted out Emerson, Lake and Palmer albums at him. Talk us. Brain center surgery. In the hole, talk us. He played exactly the same. Clever.
Do you know what, right? I really love midwives, right? And I have my baby, Chelsea. The midwife, she was great. I mean, she didn't flinch and she was looking at me down below bits for hours.
Caroline was a brilliant character actress and a brilliant writer. She was a great sort of miniaturist. She could really dig in and do something in just 2 or 3 lines, like her girl on the checkout counter who could sum up someone's entire life through selecting 5 items of shopping.
Organic eggs is just like normal eggs with a bit of shit on them.
Oh, microwave meal for one. To live on your own. Oh. Parmesan cheese. Do you know what? It smells like an old tramp's crotch, that does.
We would always wait for the sketches for Caroline, and she wrote with Craig Cash. And they'd come in very late, the sketches always, and they would turn up on a piece of paper, and you'd look at it, you think, well, is that it? Is that really all they're sending us?
You know they'd done it. They just finished filming something else and got, oh, shit, we better do something for Paul and Charlie.
But then she would come in and she would completely nail it, and just in that short amount of time, she would do something fantastic.
Great, my dad, but he's so old-fashioned, you know. He still thinks that you shouldn't have a baby till you've left school.
She definitely just had funny bones, Caroline.
Just the most talented, I think, probably of everyone. I mean, she had a real proper waspish wit.
Oh, Johnny Giles, Johnny Giles, Johnny Giles, Johnny Giles, Johnny Giles, Johnny Giles.
She spoke her mind brilliantly. Like, I mean, if she didn't like something, like other comedy on telly, really, really rated by the press and the public, and she'd go, "What's all fuss about? It's shite."
Caroline was touched. I mean, there's no question about that. And I think it was her, not so much deadpan, but that you'd have no notion that she was on her way to say something funny. And she'd just sort of go, "Oh, right." And you'd think she was going to say, "Should we go for a drink later?" or whatever. And then she'd say something, it was sort of beguiling and sort of disarming, totally disarming.
You know my husband, Ken Barnes, right? He come home the other night, there was this awful smell about him. I checked the back of his trousers and there was some lumps there. You know what it was, don't you? He'd shit himself. Simple as that.
She took me around to see her nan, and her nan sat there. And Caroline goes, "Sing a song for me, Nan." She's gone, "Go on." So I sat in her living room, sang her a song. And that's Caroline, you know. She told me to sing a song for her nan, so I did. I mean, there was nothing on. Heartbreaking. Just heartbreaking.
Do you see much of her?
No.
She's down south, isn't she? Yes. I'm giving you a piece of cake. No.
That was an Unlucky Elf sketch where he's trying to woo his lady and he has some problems with her cat. And there she is, as of course, Paula Fish.
Avali portos. Minia cugnetera interia scotcho.
And there she is as Janine, which sort of morphed into the royal family, and I was so pleased for her when she got her own series and was able to develop Janine. There we go.
I mean, we're not big sun worshippers, myself and Roy. We're big fans of the shade. Oh, Roy come down in his shorts one day. I said, "You look like an egg on legs." What did I say, Roy?
You look like an egg on legs.
Oh, they did laugh round the pool. Oh, but I got a really dicky tummy on the Wednesday. I said, "Oh, Roy, my tummy's off." What did I say, Roy?
She said she could have shit through the eye of a needle.
I did say I could shit through the eye of a needle, Roy.
Those Roy and Reaney sketches were very funny.
Yeah, they were great. Again, they hit home very quickly, didn't they?
Yes.
When we got on the plane, I said to Roy, "Oh, don't the air hostesses look lovely in those posh uniforms?" And do you know what Roy said? He said, "They're all caked in makeup." What did he say, Roy?
All caked in makeup.
It's really observant, Roy, you know. He sees everything visually. But my friend Gloria, she said that pilots marry air hostesses. And I said, some of them do, Gloria, but some of them are gay, which is fine. What did I say, Roy?
They're all puffs and glazes.
You lying bastard, Roy. I hope you crash.
Hope you crash. Well, if you think about that, that's very high concept, really. How can a single man on a packed jumbo crash? It's just inspired, I think, that joke. I hope you crash. No one else. Just you, Roy.
This week, I'll be mostly forgetting.
The logical thing to do after doing the TV was to do the Fast Show live. We weren't quite sure how to go about it, but Vic and Bob got in touch with us and said, "We really want to do a live show of shooting stars, but it couldn't possibly sustain for a whole night out. They said, it's going to be pretty shoddy. How about we did a live show, half shooting stars and half fast show? There we are. This is the programme for the Live at the Apollo 1998, the fast show and shooting stars. What a night out. And I got most of the people to sign it, but not all. You probably had to spend quite a lot of money to buy one of these, and it's got very little content. But it was a great souvenir. It really was a fantastic time. And to give you some idea of how long ago it was, look how young Bob Mortimer looks in that picture. The great thing about us is we were all playing old people, so we haven't visibly aged as much as he has.
The Fast Show Live was the first time that I realised what pop stars must feel.
It was packed. That was like rock and roll.
Today, we have a special promotion on a new line of perfume that's been lovingly created for the older lady. Might be of some interest to you, my dear. No offence.
You just walk out as the character and they'd all go mad and start screaming the catchphrases, and he thought, blimey, this is what it's like. This is what it's like to be in a pop group.
When you would walk on as a character, particularly Jazz Club, I remember. And the place was electric. Go, whoa! Like, and the Apollo's a big venue, the Hammersmith Apollo, and it was sold out every night, you know.
Hello, and welcome to Jazz Club. Nice.
It felt absolutely great, being in the same room as all those Fast Show fans.
Oh, Gary Lineker, isn't it? You know, marvellous, you know, paragon of virtue, isn't it? You know, unprecedented in the modern game, never been booked, wasn't he? You know, boyish charm with a hint of grey at the temples, but can you imagine that face contorted in the throes of sexual ecstasy?
Yes, Ron Manager, Tommy Senior and I, Clive Graham, are back 2.5 decades after we first worked together. The three amigos, right again. Giddy up.
The three bloody stooges, more like.
Oh, the three musketeers, aren't we? You know, D'Artagnan, one for all for one for you, one for him, one for me, in a brown envelope, in the car park of the Doubletree Hilton, Watford. Marvellous.
Yes, indeed. We were quite literally the beating, pulsating, throbbing, sporting art of the Fast Show. What changes we've seen to the game of football over the last quarter of a century, amen?
Amen. Oh, sorry, no, what changes, wasn't there?
Aye, so many changes. Look at the money that's flooded into the game. In my day, we players would go to the game on the bus with the fans. In fact, I used to drive the bus and collect the fares. We joke there.
Well,
you're not wrong, Tommy. The game is now completely awash with dosh.
Well, yes, I mean, it's killing the game, isn't it?
Killing the game.
It is indeed killing the game. And what about player power and football agents?
Oh, the greedy bastards.
Oh, they're killing the game, aren't they? Isn't it? He is... Oh, God, Fulham manager. Alex Stock. See, things are starting to leave me now. Alex Stock was a very optimistic and enthusiastic football manager and pundit, but he'd get very sort of nostalgic and say, oh, FA Cup final day, isn't it? National celebration. Get the bunting out, isn't it? Oh, marvellous. It was so much simpler back in the day, wasn't it, when we were starting out in association football? Small boys in the park, jumpers for goalposts, a little tweak of your opponent's plums as he went up for a header. Marvellous.
You know, if we did that now, Ronnie, my old son, the cameras would be all over you like a cheap suit and you would be all over social media.
Oh, social media. Don't get me started. Killing the game. Too much scrutiny. You can't just get on and play. That's why you see all these players now talking behind their hands.
Oh, yes, isn't it? Talking behind the hands, it's killing the game, isn't it?
Well, that's not really killing the game, is it, Ronnie?
Oh, isn't it? Wasn't it? Aren't I?
Obviously, the shadow of Partridge was very strong, so we were kind of like, what we're going to do. So it was a bit Jim Rosenthal, and he was just a foil for Paul to do his stuff. But there is, of course, the big one, VAR.
Aye, VAR, that really is killing the game.
Oh, VAR, I mean, really is killing the game, isn't it?
Brutally murdering it.
It's literally slicing the game in half with a metal ruler.
It's throttling the game to death with its bare hands, isn't it? Dismembering it and burying it in a shallow grave in Epping Forest, doesn't it? Wasn't it? Marvellous.
And nowadays you got all these very foreign owners.
Well, some might say, Tommy, they're providing much-needed investment.
Yes, they're saving the game.
They're killing the game, man.
Oh, yes, of course, they're killing the game, and they're saving the game, and they're killing the game, and then saving it, killing it, and the rebound goes out for a corner.
Indeed, gentlemen, but there's something else we've seen of the late that really is, of course, the final nail in the coffin of the beautiful game that we all love, the inexorable rise of the female pundit and presenter.
Oh, with their shrill voices, isn't it? Don't they? I mean, they've even got them on TalkSport now. It's nothing sacred.
Actually, I quite like them. I think they're a welcome introduction. They add a different perspective and stop everything getting too laddish and sweaty.
Tommy Steen there, killing the game.
Are you a real Scotsman? Brilliant came up because I'd got a taxi round to you to do some writing. And I was just like, was it great, really? I just asked someone to point me in and they took me.
You thought it was an amazing concept.
I really did, yeah.
Do you know what? In London, they've got these brilliant trains that go under the ground. You don't suffocate on. Now, fantastic. What about them animals you can get? You can keep them in your house, and they're all furry, and you can stroke them and make up names for them, and they're called dogs. The smaller ones are called cats. It's brilliant. Everything's just fantastic.
What I like, in my memory of the Fast Show, and it is a long time ago now, is actually the sort of range of stuff that's in there. So it was nice to have that technique. It just gave it another little, a little edge. And we were very conscious of the style in the show. So, and that character does encapsulate that.
In Gravity, brilliant. It's fantastic, isn't it? Well, it's not like I wander around going, in Gravity, brilliant all the time. Well, I do,
I remember Jeff Perkins, the producer of all Harry's shows and our executive producer, he said it reminded him of a sort of, like a video, like a pop video.
I mean, imagine going to the toilet without gravity. It'd be terrible, wouldn't it?
I'm not sure how funny the brilliant scripts are, but with that jump cut, it certainly gives them a life and an edge.
Ant Hall's brilliant. In fact...
Then you can take a small pan...
You know mini Kievs? Yeah. On the menu, would they be under starters or main courses? I'll get me coat.
I think I'm responsible for Get My Coat. I was in the pub with Charlie and I told him a very dull story. And Charlie being Charlie, he told me it was dull. So I said, right, I'll get my coat then, and walked off with my coat. And then he grabbed me and said, Bob, could I use that? And I said, well, whatever, of course.
I tended to be put into Bob's sketches, which was typecasting, again like Jesse, somebody from the Midlands who doesn't really know what's going on, but is keen. So a very, very personal performance. Because it, could have been me, and was, very often.
He's no Goddard, he's no Tarkovsky. They are artists creating a language of cinema. And as for Bergman...
Well... Hey, did you see that Bergman film on the telly last night?
Yes, of course.
What a complete waste of time that was. 1, it was in black and white. 2, it was subtitled. 3, no one got shot. 4, no one got their kit off. 5, I'll get me coat.
I do remember we did a kind of tribute to Monty Python, where we did a sort of middle-class sketch where we all tried to outdo each other. Instead of I lived at the bottom of the garden, it was I was more middle-class than you.
My parents had an open marriage, and we frequently went on holiday with my father's mistress and my mother's lover, and we had some jolly good games of Scrabble as well.
Well, I
used to go to art galleries, out of choice. And we always stood at the front of the last night of the proms.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I'm secretly gay. I'll get my coat.
Sometimes a long pause is vital.
Ted and Ralph came to us quite late. We'd known Graham Linehan and Arthur Matthews for a while, since they arrived in England, in fact, from Ireland. We said, have you got any other characters, anything, possibly? And they performed the Tina Turner sketch in the pub by the fruit machine, with Graham as Ted, although he was Bob, called Bob at the time.
Right.
And Arthur as Ralph.
Are you doing anything on Friday, Ted?
Well, there's plenty to do down in the lower fields, what with the drainage problem.
No, you misunderstand me, Ted. I did mean in the evening. It's just I have a couple of tickets for Tina Turner.
All right, sir.
Do you like Tina Turner, Ted?
I wouldn't know about that, sir.
No.
And it was one of those things where there weren't particularly any jokes in it, but you just thought there is something powerful about this, and something odd and something funny, but I can't quite put my finger on.
It was interesting, wasn't it? Because
John,
both John and Simon, and possibly Mark as well, were like, can we do that? And yet there were no gags in it really to speak of. We played in the stuff we filmed to absolute silence, the Ted and Ralph, apart from...
You can hear Graham Linehan laughing at the back.
And Caroline. And she was going, no, they're girls. And so, you know, we felt, despite the sort of strange reaction, we knew that they were a hit. There was something...
We stuck with it. We thought, well, let's try it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, I shall have to be pushing off to Winslow, Ted. I pick up a prescription. So, I'll leave you doing whatever it is you're doing here. And, I shall say goodbye. Yes, goodbye.
Right, sir. Do I love you, my, oh my? River deep, mountain high.
The best sketch is, without doubt, technically, is the Ralph and Ted potato, the drinking game with Ralph and Ted potato turnip. Because it's like one of those Shaggy long story jokes. You don't know where it's going to go.
Ted is in the pub with his mates, involved in a drinking game, and they all insist that I speak to him
and join
using
in,
the rules of the game.
Which is a sort of reversal of everything that's gone before, because you've never been allowed to participate. So
under normal
the
circumstances,
irony is not lost on me.
Ralph would have been his dream come true to join in a pub game with Ted and his mates, but this is the one time that he can't.
I'm very sorry. Under normal circumstances, believe you me, I would like nothing more than to join you in your game, but not tonight, please.
Go on, sir, go on. It'll be a bit fun, sir.
Is Ted really...
Tomato, here's aubergine, your potato drinks.
It's all right, we've got a new nominee.
Well, hey!
It's a private matter.
Bong! Wow!
When we were writing that, we thought this... Actually, no, this is a really good, funny sketch, which is very funny, but also very sort of bleak and dark, but also quite emotional as well.
Tomato, Ted, aubergine, your potato, wife's turnip dead. Sorry, I mean, tomato, sorry.
I just thought that was a great example of how funny but moving the Fast Show could be when it really got it right.
I think we should always remember Ted and Ralph as they were. This beautiful relationship, frozen in time forever.
Yes.
I'm just putting some more blue in the water there. Do you notice as the day goes on, the colour of the sea changes almost by the minute, doesn't it?
I vividly remember my first time on the Fast Show. I hit a bar like there, and it was a complete accident. But I remember the year. It was 1999. And you that way like that, like a war. And I remember one episode, and it was very similar to the time it was in Borneo. And I don't know like that. I'd lost 3 toes. But you go there, blah, 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 like that. I picked them up and I found them again in a second-hand shop in Bournemouth. Oh, but I remember going around and I looked back at me. Oh, he was a very handsome chap, especially in uniform. But I mean, I was for the one time, blah, 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 like that. Mac too. I mean, she swallowed her false teeth. I came home. She's gone. He's gone. Brother died. Sister died. Father died. Mother died. I let them do some limited fracking. I mean, like that, but I remember vividly that the whole thing had gone, oh, and someone had chiseled the testicles off. Very, right? I mean, at the time, I'd been eating bats for weeks, you know? I was Director General of the BBC at the time. Oh yes. I upset a lot of feminists, you know? But I mean, real personal, right? And in my defence, I was very, very drunk.
I actually think the Fast Show is pretty timeless. I don't think any of it is kind of dated.
Right, where are we going?
My place. Tufnell Park, please.
Where to, mate? Yeah, Tufnell Park.
I think it was funny. And I think it was about being funny and not being anything else. And that is very, very rare.
This season, I'll be mostly wearing nipple clamps.
I think the Fast Show was definitely the last huge sketch show. There were some great sketch shows after that, some really good ones, but I don't think any show was as big as the Fast Show got.
The ladies like a man in a trouser, don't they, sir?
And out of a trouser.
I expect you're in and out of your trousers all day long, aren't you, sir?
Oh. And it was fun, and the other thing is we had real fun doing it. We couldn't believe our luck. When you're filming stuff, that sort of comes through the telly.
26 on the Queen's runs.
Would I do it again? Yes, of course. Absolutely. Wouldn't hesitate. Yeah. It's a joy for an actor to play all those parts, to inhabit all those different realms, you know, and just... But I'd love to write new ones as well. That's the thing. It's exciting. Sketch work for an actor is just joyous, really. I mean, show me an actor who doesn't like sketch work and I'll show you a fool.
Anything you need, go through it with Belinda.
Go for the window. All right.
It was a revelation for us, and I think it was like it was a joy, you know, it really was. It was such fun, wasn't it? Just fun, Charlie.
Some aspects of it were.
Yeah, well, I must say we really enjoyed the little instructional videos we made for the Fast Show about how to paint, didn't we, Katie?
Yes, great fun.
Yes, painting is such a wonderful activity. Even if you don't think you're any good at it, you can still get out and about in the countryside and just take time to stop and think and look. It's very peaceful.
Very, peaceful, yes, most of the time.
I always say that painting is all about paths. The paths take you to other paths that lead to a path that leads you down a path that leads you back up the path to a path that leads on to a cave. It's very dark inside.
I think that's enough about paths, Johnny. Maybe just talk about the painting, yeah?
Yes. Yes, but it's very therapeutic, isn't it, Katie? Painting, it's good for the soul.
Well, it's certainly been a kind of therapy for us over the years.
I'd been trying to write a character which was a very bland sort of harbour-side watercolourist painter, the sort that would have a show on an afternoon TV of how to do watercolours. To be painting these very twee scenes. And I thought, wouldn't it be funny if a painter like that had the soul of a tortured artist and really believed himself to be this kind of Van Gogh figure.
Love the sound of the seagulls, don't you, Katie?
It's very evocative, isn't it?
It's a lovely sound. Now, I'm just putting some more blue in the water there. Do you notice as the day goes on, the colour of the sea changes almost by the minute, doesn't it?
It's a wonderful blue, isn't it?
It is lovely.
I love playing Katie, to Charlie's Johnny, the painter. That was always very good fun.
And the white walls with those windows there, very dark, almost black.
Johnny?
Black, yes, black. I shall need to get the black out.
Johnny?
Black.
Johnny?
Black. Black. Black for the sky and the sea. Black. All black, like the procession of night that leads us into the valley of despair.
I would always have fun trying to startle Arabella, who was very good at keeping a straight face, because I would never tell her what I was going to do, because I didn't always know what I was going to do when I kicked off.
In The Painter, there was a lot of Charlie. The anger in there somewhere.
Like the endless blackness of space that leads to the chasm of clams. Oh, the monks are troubled and full of woe. I'm a fly, trapped in a bottle of shadows. My eyes are pies, and yours are lies. All lies. They're destroying our city!
Completely independently, one of our writers, Brendan O'Casey, came up with a very similar character, and he just had this idea that the word black sent him insane. And Brendan was writing these sketches with these beautiful language that he came up with for when it all kicked off. So we put the two ideas together, and it worked really well.
The gulls have plucked out my eyes. We crawl on our knees towards our doom.
Obviously, we've had a lot of challenges.
Yes, you have had some difficult times now and then, haven't you, darling? What did Churchill call it? The dark mood that haunted him? Something about a dog, yes, a type of dog.
A collie.
What?
A poodle. An Afghan hound. No, wait, a Welsh terrier. Yes, that was it. He was haunted by a Welsh terrier called Gareth.
It's not right, Katie. You're sounding quite balmy.
Please, Johnny, can we just talk about painting? Let's not talk about Churchill and his wretched, bloody black dog.
Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill, his funny hat, his cigar, his V sign, and his black dog. Black dog, black, 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 like the beetle that sits on the tip of my chimney and says to me, "All right, mate, all right, mate." Black, 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 like the bin bag of loneliness that crinkles at my waist. Black, 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 black. Ladybird, ladybird, what's on your back? I'll follow you about. I'll follow you about. You stole Reginald's testicles. Black! Black! Mother, don't look at me like that. It wasn't me that swallowed the fly with 1,000 black eyes. Black! 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 record that goes around and around and around. Is that a camera? Any lovely rainbows in there? We're all movie stars.
I think we'd better go home now, Johnny. Come along, darling.
Could we stop and get some cakes on the way?
Yes, plenty of cake.